welcome. I would like to welcome you to episode 297, the Unpopular Podcast. This is the man, the myth, the legend, Jalen Hunter. And here at the Unpopular Podcast, I'm not really asking you to agree with me. I'm just asking you to hear me out. I want to start this episode by, acknowledging and giving my condolence or sending my condolences to the Mike Leach family. Mike Leach passed away the other day, I think 2 days ago, at the age of 61. Look, a lot of people can talk about, his Trump affiliation and stuff like that, but the Mike Leach that I want to talk about, the Mike Leach that I want to remember is the Mike Leach that was one of the most innovative college coaches the sport has ever seen. With his approach to offense and how his approach has now been copied throughout the entire college football landscape, it's something to be said. When we talk about great coaches, there's a reason why, especially in the college realm, there's a reason why Mike Leach's name is always up there. Because he changed the game of college football. He changed the way offense, the air raid offense. He changed college football. And I don't know what the illness was. I think it was a heart attack. I'm not too sure. I'm not reporting on anything. All I'm doing is sending out my condolences and sending out my rest in peace. Mike Leach was one of college football is not the same without Mike Leach. He was the coach at Mississippi State, and it looks like Mississippi State will still play their bowl game, I guess in remembrance of Mike Leach. But he was a great coach. I don't know how he was as a guy. I don't know him like that. I don't know him at all, actually, from a can of paint. But rest in peace, Mike Leach, and I wish nothing but I send my condolences to the family. So, rest in peace, Mike Leach. Let's move forward. So Kyler Murray tears his ACL on Monday Night Football, and clearly out for the season. This hasn't been the best season for the Arizona Cardinals. In fact, it hasn't been a good season. The Cardinals are currently 4-9. A lot of people are going to say that you should blow it up because of this incident, because of, Kyler Murray going out. But you got to look. I think that Cliff Kingsbury isn't the best head coach. I don't think he's a really good head coach. I mean, if you look at wherever he went, it really wasn't as successful as you'd think. Well, to me, it wasn't successful enough to make it to the NFL, but here we are. And the same Cliff Kingsbury that we saw in college that couldn't have a winning record with a lot of the players that he had, or with a lot of the great NFL players that he had, is not having a winning record with the Cardinals. There's a lot wrong with Arizona. A lot. It's not just Kyler Murray now. And the problem, and I get it. I'm always going to be on the side of the quarterback and on the side of the player. But this is why organizations don't like to pay their players. Because now look at the situation. Look at the basket that that the Cardinals are in. You have a quarterback who is one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league, who will miss majority of the season next year due to an ACL tear. Because he's one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league, you don't have a lot of flexibility anywhere. Your best wide receiver is DeAndre Hopkins, and I don't know how long he's going to be there. Your running game is hit or miss, even though you have James Conner, who's good. The offensive line's nearly not as good. Defense is nearly not as good, even though you have Budda Baker, even though you have Isaiah Simmons, even though you have what's left of J.J. Watt. It's not that good. And you have a coach that a lot of people feel is incompetent. So this isn't me bashing the Arizona Cardinals. Please don't hear me or don't think that I'm bashing them, especially with Kyler Murray being out. But Kyler Murray being out is the epitome of everything that is wrong with the Arizona Cardinals. A team, by the way, that was a lot of people thought was a Super Bowl contender last year because of the great start that they had through the first half of the season. So the question is, should they blow it up? And what does blow it up look like? I think that in order to blow something up, as far as a team, you should have a simple direction. And you should have a map on how to get to said direction. If you blow it up, what happens outside of trading or outside of getting rid of Cliff Kingsbury? What happens? Because I don't see another coach coming in and being able to fix it like that. People are going to have to be moved. Do you move Budda Baker? Do you move Isaiah Simmons? Do you move DeAndre Hopkins? Who do you move? Because you're going to have to move somebody for pieces and for draft picks, which you don't have a lot of. So what do? You cannot move Kyler Murray because, you just signed him to an extension. And he's coming off an ACL tear. So the stock is at an all-time low. Again, who are you going to get as a coach? I don't see anybody getting Harbaugh from Michigan. I don't see them getting Sean Payton. I don't see them getting any top tier coach. So what direction do the Arizona Cardinals have? Outside to just stick it out. Now, no. I don't think hold on now. I don't think that Cliff Kingsbury should still be the coach. But again, I am befuddled. I don't know where you go from here. I wish nothing but a speedy recovery from Kyler Murray, but when Kyler Murray gets back, Kyler Murray was here for most of this 4-9. He hasn't been great either. It just, I don't know, man. I think the worst part about it is when you look at the young talent in the league, right? Kyler Murray is supposed to be up there. He's with the amount of money he's getting paid, he's supposed to be up there with the Lamar Jacksons. He's supposed to be up there with the Patrick Mahomes. He's supposed to be up there with the Joe Burrows, with the Justin Herberts, with the Tua Tunga. I don't know about Tua, but with those quarterbacks. The problem is, he may be up there at the best, especially last year he was up there. But what does that have to show for it? I look at another team. I look at the Chargers that have been riddled with injuries. Hell, even their quarterback Justin Herbert was injured. But he has been as consistent as possible, even with everything being unconsistent around him. And they're 7-6. Now, no, that's not a great record, but it's better than 4-9. Jalen Hurts came into the season, and a lot of people, including myself, question if he can even pass the ball accurately like that. The Eagles are currently 12-1. What I'm saying is, I hear a lot of people say blow it up for the Cardinals, and I do think that there should be massive changes to it's not even rectified, to change what is current. But my question is, and my whole thing is, and we talk about this a lot with basketball too. When you blow something up, you have to have a plan on how you're going to. You have to have a plan and a time on how you're going to get back or overcome. And that doesn't. I don't see where it's going to happen at all. And what's unfortunate about the whole thing is Kyler Murray is going to be like this for the next few years, even with Kyler Murray being healthy. Because who are they getting? I don't see anybody in the draft that's going to dramatically change their fortune. But I do wish for a speedy recovery, and a 100% recovery for Kyler Murray. It's unfortunate. You never want to see anybody go out, clearly, and it sucks. It sucks, especially, he hasn't dealt with an ACL or anything, but he's been injured, and that is the fear that you have with smaller quarterbacks. Look at a lot of the smaller quarterbacks. Tua, he's dealt with a bunch of injury. Russell Wilson, the last 2 years, has dealt with some injury. I mean, he's on concussion protocol right now. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but yeah. I wish nothing but the best for Tua, and I hope, again, speedy recovery, and I really wish nothing but the best for Arizona. It's just looking at the landscape, I don't see how they're going to get better anytime soon. So let's move forward. And I just want to say congratulations. And this is what a swan song is supposed to look like. Now, I'm not crowning Argentina the World Cup champions just yet, but they look good. And I hope this doesn't jinx them. I'm not really rooting for anybody, but Argentina destroyed Croatia and had to go into PKs against who was the Netherlands. Messi has been incredible. Argentina as a whole has been incredible, and I think this is if they do win the World Cup, this will be their first World Cup win since 1986. I know they went in 2014 but lost. Messi, he's already come out and said this is more than likely his last World Cup. He's been great. And you can tell that the Argentinians, like, look at the field coming in. You have Portugal and Cristiano Ronaldo, he's out. Brazil, who a lot of people thought and is the most stacked team in this, they're out. See what happens with France. But Messi has been incredible. I just want to shine some light. I'm not going to crown them yet because, as we saw in 2014, nothing is guaranteed. And as we saw with Brazil this year, nothing is guaranteed. And we'll talk about it, of course, once the World Cup Finals happens. But Argentina destroyed Croatia. They beat them like 3-0, which for people that don't watch soccer, 3-0 and it doesn't need 3-0 is not a lot. That's kind of like a 21-point win in basketball. Like total domination. Messi was great. Argentina as a whole was great. And we'll talk about it more if they make it to or if they win the World Cup. We'll talk about it. Let's move forward. Let me give my let me break down week 14 in the NFL, starting with the Bills beating the Jets 20-12. This is yet another game where the Bills, even though they do win, congratulations to the Bills do not look like a top-tier team. I know it's hard to say because they're 10-3, and they just beat the Jets. But Josh Allen has, I think, through his season low in passing yards, it just wasn't good. The defense didn't look that good. Mike White looked incredible until they destroyed his ribs. I know it's a divisional game, and of course you're going to play better against a divisional opponent. But the Bills, they continue to just question. Like, I understand Von Miller not being there is huge, but you shouldn't be struggling with teams like this. And that's no offense to the Jets, but when you look at the personnel that the Jets have and you look at the personnel that the Bills have, it's like stark. It should be night and day difference. And for some reason it is not. So, but with all that being said, congratulations to the Bills for beating the Jets 20-12. And they, with all everything I just said, they're still number one in the AFC, and they still have Josh Allen. They still have great players. So, shouts out. The Bengals beat the Browns 23-10. This Bengals team, man, looks drastically different than they did just about 4 or 5 weeks ago. This team looks like one of the best teams in the league, hands down. And this is no offense to Joe Mixon, but with Samaje Perine, there's just more of a physicality to the run game. Of course, Joe Burrow is doing Joe Burrow things, slicing and dicing with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd. Their defense is looking better. Their offensive line is still questionable, but their defense is looking good. This Bengals team. Now, I will acquiesce. This is going against a Deshaun Watson who has only played 2 games in 700 plus days. But this Bengals team is good. This Bengals team, I wouldn't be upset if people put them in like a top 5, in their top 5 when they rank the Bengals, because they're a good team. They're a really good team, and they are scary because you're starting to see that they can beat you a lot of ways at this point. They can beat you on the run game. They can beat you with a physical ground and pound. Yeah, man. Congratulations to the Bengals. The Cowboys beat the Texans 27-23. I think I'm not going to look at I will say this. The thing that the questions that you have about the Cowboys, they didn't really answer any of those questions on Sunday because, I mean, you question when you have to put in Dak Prescott's hand and you can't really lean on the running game, can they win? But then also it's like you're going against a one-win team, and they were in a dogfight. In fact, they pretty much had a walk-off win at this point. But they won, even though it was against the Texans. But congratulations to the Cowboys. I don't think it's that, I wouldn't worry too much about it because they're still 10-3. I just realized the Cowboys have the same record as the Bills. Wow. I didn't realize that until I just looked at that. Damn. They got a better record than the Bengals. Shouts out to the Cowboys for beating the Texans. The Lions beat the Vikings 34-23. I told you guys the Lions are one of the best teams in the league as far as offense. In fact, they're actually one of the they look. Jared Goff is playing probably his best football he's played as a pro. The running game is great. The defense is great. We saw the trick play to Penei Sewell to get the first down. This Lions team is statistically one of the best offensive one of the best offenses in the league as far as points per game, as far as yards per game. It's just they have not had a good time, or they have not had they haven't been able to close out games. On the flip side, this Vikings team, Their weakness continues to be shown week after week after week. Their secondary and their defense is not as good as we thought. Yes, you have Za'Darius Smith. Yes, you have Patrick Peterson, but and Hunter. Yet they have pieces. It's just this is yet another week where a team, and I understand it's difficult to really just show it, seeing as though they're 10-3. But this is yet another team that has thrown the ball all over them. And what's gone to waste and what will be by the wayside, because people won't even realize it, is Justin Jefferson had like 200 plus yards. The Vikings, that's the problem with the Vikings, man. The Vikings are so inconsistent, it's not even funny. At their best, they are clearly one of the best teams in the NFL. At their worst, they're just, I don't know, man. It's and the worst part about it is it wasn't even Kirk Cousins that much. It was the defense. Usually it is Kirk. But it wasn't. But shouts out to the Lions for beating the Vikings. The Eagles beat the Giants 48-22. I've said this time and time again. The Giants are The Giants are exactly who they thought they were. It's kind of like I do hate to pile on, but it's kind of like the Arizona Cardinals of last year. They were hot in the beginning, and then they just fizzled out. The difference is the Giants were not as hot as the Cardinals a year ago, and their fizzle out started earlier than the Arizona Cardinals did. It's like, look, you're a limited team when you have Daniel Jones, when you have injured Saquon Barkley, and the defense is hit or miss. And you're not going to win many games, especially against the team that is 12-1. I don't have things change. I mean, Brian Daboll, he was my coach of the year. He still could possibly get it, but I don't think he will because of just how poor the Giants have looked at that. Now, I do understand that a lot of this is because of Saquon Barkley's injury, but they don't look good. They do not look good in the slightest. And the Eagles went in and destroyed them. It wasn't even like close. Well, that's 26. That's a 20. That is all of a 26-point win. Like, it's not like, oh, well, it's just a couple plays you got away from. No, they were completely manhandled. The Giants. I told you, it's just give it some time, and they're going to come back down to earth. And they're definitely here chilling. So, the Ravens beat the Steelers 16-14. This game, I don't know what it is about the AFC South, or is it just the Ravens games, but the Ravens always find a way to win ugly. This was an ugly game. Tyler Huntley went out with a concussion. What's his name? Kenny Pickett went out with a concussion. Mitch Trubisky threw 3 interceptions, like 3 of them. I don't know what's going to happen moving forward with the Ravens if Tyler Huntley can play when Lamar Jackson. They're saying that maybe after Christmas or before Christmas he'll be able to play. I don't know. But it has been tough sledding for the Ravens. I will tell you that. And the Steelers are the Steelers, but this will be the first year that Mike Tomlin has a losing record at the end of the season. It's just been tough sledding. Now, the Ravens, and it goes back to their defense, man. Their defense, even though they did win, their defense, what's his name? Dan Orlowski said it best. Their spacing is bad. It's just one of the biggest question marks, and one of the biggest reasons why I am very skeptical if the Ravens can win the Super Bowl is because of their defense and because of their lack of wide receiver talent. When your best current wide receiver is Deshaun Jackson? Come on now. Now, and that's no offense to Deshaun Jackson, but this Deshaun Jackson is not the Eagles' Deshaun Jackson, and in the slightest. So, I want to see the Ravens succeed. It's just tough. I will say that. The Jaguars beat the Titans 36-22. This is the concern that I have for the Titans. Good win for the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence looked great. But the way to beat the Titans is make Ryan Tannehill throw the ball. If Ryan Tannehill is their primary reason why you win, then you just chalk it up to, hey, it was just their day. But Ryan Tannehill has not shown the ability, and this Titans team has not shown the ability to be able to win consistently when you can't lean on Derrick Henry. And as we're starting to see, the wide receiver core isn't that dynamic. Shocker when you lose A.J. Brown. That now, of course, Treylon Burke not being there is big, but there's nothing special outside of Derrick Henry. There's nothing special about this Titans team except for the fact that they have Mike Vrabel, who is a great coach, and it's a rugged team. That's it. Like, I don't. You and teams like that lose to the Jaguars 36-22. That's why I don't have faith in them in the playoffs. They can make some noise, of course, but I don't have faith in them in the playoffs. Because when you're in a shootout, do you see the Texans winning a shootout? If Derrick Henry doesn't have 3 touchdowns or something? Because I surely don't. So, but shouts out to the Jags. The Chiefs beat the Broncos 34-28. There was a lot happening in this game. The Chiefs went up 27-0. Russell Wilson had his best game. In fact, Russell Wilson had his best game as a Bronco. Let me see what he did. Russell Wilson went, give me a second, 23 for 36, 247 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. That 1 interception was an incredible interception by I think it was a linebacker. But Patrick Mahomes, who threw 3 touchdowns, also threw 3 interceptions that kept the Broncos back in the game. Russell Wilson, of course, went out with a concussion. He didn't come back. It looked bad. They put a knot on his head. Ripken came threw a touchdown, but wasn't enough. I'm starting to hear people say, because of the performance on Sunday, that Jalen Hurts should be the best or should be the favorite for the MVP. And I think right now he is the odds-on favorite to win the MVP. Here's my thing. I look at what's around Patrick Mahomes compared to what's around Jalen Hurts. Now, don't get me wrong. Patrick Mahomes is not around a bunch of scrubs. But if you look at the wide receiver core, between who has a better wide receiver core between the Chiefs and the Eagles, I'm going to go with the Eagles with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith compared to Juju Smith-Schuster, Valdez-Scantling, and you can put Travis Kelce in there. He's the best out of all of them. But, I still, as far as a wide receiver core, I'm going to go with the Eagles. As a running core, as a running team, as a running game, I'm going to go with the Eagles. Miles Sanders, I'm going to go with the Eagles. Defense, I'm going to go with the Eagles. Lane Johnson. You also have Ndamukong Suh. You have Darius Slay. The offensive line, I'm going to go with the Eagles. The defensive line, I'm going to go with the Eagles. The Eagles, in my opinion, have a better overall team than the Chiefs. The only thing the 2 things that the Eagles do not have better than the Chiefs, in my opinion, is the coach and the quarterback. And even with all that, Patrick Mahomes has almost 1,000 more yards, passing yards, than Jalen Hurts. Now, yes, Jalen Hurts has more rushing yards, but if you combined Patrick Mahomes rushing, in fact, if you combine Jalen Hurts rushing yards and passing yards and do the same thing for Patrick Mahomes still has well over Jalen Hurts. He has more touchdowns. Yes, he has more interceptions, but he has more touchdowns. Not to mention the fact that one of the biggest reasons and one of the biggest things that I think Jalen Hurts has going for him in this race is that they're 12-1. But as we just mentioned, the Eagles have arguably the best team in the league. And I look at it like this. It's kind of like the argument that a lot of people give for the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. You put Jalen Hurts on the Chiefs compared to putting Patrick Mahomes on the Eagles. Which team looks drastically different? Now, yes, Patrick Mahomes clearly does not run as good as Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts does not throw the ball and have acrobatic throws as much and as well as Patrick Mahomes. But which team would be drastically more different? And this is no offense. Please don't hear me say this. This is no offense, or please don't hear me send shots at Jalen Hurts. I like Jalen Hurts. I would have no problem if Jalen Hurts wins the MVP, and rightfully so. Again, your team is 12-1. Right now you're leading a 12-1 team in the NFL, but I still think Patrick Mahomes has been better and is better. And I don't think that a 3-interception game, a game, by the way, that they won and that he threw 3 touchdowns, should demote him from being the leader of the MVP. That's because, again, look at the team. I'm not saying that the Chiefs are trash. Don't hear me say that at all. But again, if we talk about any unit on the field, one looks drastically a bit different than the other between the Eagles and the Chiefs. That's all I'm saying. But back to the game. Congratulations to the Chiefs for beating the Broncos 34-28. The Panthers beat the Seahawks 30-24. It's the same argument that I have with the Giants is kind of the same thing you can say about the Seahawks as far as, you were good and now they're kind of plateauing. They're kind of coming down to earth. Not saying that they're a terrible team, but they're 7-6, and this was a game that they should have easily won. The Panthers, Sam Darnold, this is his second game playing. You're supposed to win that game. And the Panthers have a legit shot of making to the playoffs, even at 5-7, because of how bad the Buccaneers have looked and the Falcons of late, even though they're on a bye week. But they did lose Kyle Pitts. And that's even a thing, man. P.S. I don't even want they have Kyle Pitts not to throw them the ball. That's just it. So, but yeah, the Panthers look good. Sam Darnold looked really in control. He didn't look wild. That's the thing about Sam Darnold. When Sam Darnold plays his the best of his ability, he looks good. They looked really good as a team, as an offense. It's just he has those games where it's kind of like what we talk about with Carson Wentz. Sam Darnold has some games where he just looks incredible. Looks like a top-tier quarterback. Then he has games where he doesn't even look like he should be playing football in general. It looks like he lost his skills back in high school. That's just the Sam Darnold that you get. And on Sunday, he looked good. So, shouts out to the Panthers. The 49ers beat the Buccaneers 35-7. First and foremost, this is why the 49ers tried to give up, or not tried. They pretty much gave up on Jimmy G until they realized they had no suitors for Jimmy G. What do I mean by that? Brock Purdy, who his nickname is Mr. Irrelevant because he was the last pick in the draft, comes in, and the 49ers offense looks more explosive than it's looked all season. Yeah, and I understand that you have Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuels, who we'll talk about in a second with his injury, but this offense looked more explosive than it's looked all year, with a quarterback that is nicknamed Mr. Irrelevant. This is why, and I'm not saying that Jimmy G is trash. Don't hear me say Jimmy G is trash, because he's not. But Jimmy G has no. It doesn't seem like he has the. It doesn't seem like he has the it to take you over the top. Now, I'm not saying Brock Purdy does, but what I'm saying is, again, this 49ers offense looked spry, like explosive. Now, let's talk about the Buccaneers for a second. This is yet another game, and I feel like it's like one hand I feel bad for Todd Bowles, but the next minute it's like you're supposed to be a defensive coach, and the defense got torched. But I can also say the defense was on there for a while because the Buccaneers offense is terrible. And one thing that I don't understand, and that's confusing to me, is I understand if you just come and you have a new wide receiver core, and it takes time to get used to. It takes time to acclimate with your wide receivers, but Tom Brady's been there. Mike Evans has been there. Chris Godwin has been there. Leonard Fournette has been there. I understand that the offensive line is pretty crappy, but they've been there. And it doesn't look like Tom Brady has any chemistry with any of his wide receivers. Not Chris Godwin, not Julio Jones, not Russell Gage, not Mike Evans, no one. Now, I don't know. Tom Brady looks old. He looks old. He looks like he's not really long for this job anymore. And it's just the Bucs as a whole are not good. Now, I know it's going to be hard if and probably when they make it to the playoffs, you're still betting against Tom Brady, which is tough to do, but the Bucs have given me absolutely no faith that they can make a deep playoff. The only thing the Bucs that give me faith in is the fact of who they might have to play. Like, you possibly play a Geno Smith and the Seahawks. You possibly could play a Lions or maybe a Kirk Cousins. But it's like, that doesn't give me, or Daniel Jones or maybe a Taylor Heineke. But it's like, the only reason why I would maybe pick the Bucs is because I don't have faith in the other team. Not because they've given me a reason to be like, that Bucs team is great. No. There is nothing good. What is great? That's it. What is great about this Bucs team? Nothing. They have good individuals. Like, you have Levante David. You have Devin White. You still have Mike Evans, who's a top-tier quarter or wide receiver. You still have Chris Godwin. You have Leonard Fournette, even though he hasn't had that good of a season. You have good names. Julio Jones. Now, it's not the Julio Jones of old, but still a Julio Jones. Brady. But there's nothing special about this team. Nothing good about this team, except they have bursts, and their bursts are good because you still have Tom Brady. This team is not making no noise in the playoffs. I don't think this team is going to make any noise in the playoffs. And if they do, that's because probably the team that they're playing collapsed, or their quarterback just shows his hand or something. The Bucs aren't good. And the 49ers are one of the best teams in the league. And this is why I think that they have a good shot of going to the Super Bowl. Because their defense was ferocious yet again. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, like, their defense was great. And their offense is great. Now the question and the concern, which I guess is a happy concern, is Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel goes out with a knee injury. He avoided actually ankle, I think. He avoided it looked like it was bad. It looked like it could be ACL, but it wasn't. I think it was a high ankle sprain, so he should be able to come back. That's great. And I do think that even though you have Christian McCaffrey who looked good, it's imperative that you get Deebo Samuels back if you want to make any noise in the playoffs, let alone go to the Super Bowl. But I love this 49ers team. This 49ers team is good. And it's so good that you can have Mr. Irrelevant come. And let me not say that because that sounds disrespectful to him. Brock Purdy came in and the offense looked explosive. They look like the best team from head to toe on the field on Sunday. It was not a person. And Brock Purdy made Tom Brady look all of the 47 or however old he is. It's crazy. Shouts out to Brock. Shouts out to the 49ers. The Chargers beat the Dolphins 23-17. This is why I came in last episode and talked about Tua and talked about his inaccuracy, and I thought it was a one-off because that's what he's pretty much known for, is his accuracy. This is yet another game where his accuracy was not good. And of course, they ultimately lost to the Chargers. A team, again, the Chargers that have dealt with injuries this entire year. From Joey Bosa to Derwin James missing time to J.C. Jackson out for the season. Keenan Allen was gone, but he did play this game. Mike Williams missed some time. Hell, Justin Herbert missed time. This game is a game that, quiet as it's kept, if you're a young quarterback that, you think that you're great, this is one of those games that you definitely circle. Because you're going against another quarterback that a lot of people compare you to. A lot of people compare Justin Herbert to Tua, depending on, some of the young, up-and-coming, young, great quarterbacks. And while they compare Justin Herbert to Tua, the conversation around both are drastically different. A lot of people there's times when a lot of people question, is Justin Herbert a top 5 quarterback in the league right now? A lot of people question if Tua is good enough to lead this very, very good Dolphins team anywhere in the playoffs. So if I'm Tua, or if I'm a young quarterback that you're going against a peer that a lot of people compare myself to, you're going to circle it. You're going to be like, yo, I have to show out. The problem was, however, Tua didn't look good in the slightest. He looked terrible. Terrible. He looked off. He looked rushed. He just didn't look good. Now, another tall sign that Tua didn't look good, or Tua wasn't really that good, was because of the pass discrepancy between Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, which this is the second week this has happened, where Tyreek gets way more than double the passes than Jalen Waddle gets. Now, yes, Tyreek Hill is better than Jalen Waddle in my opinion, but Jalen Waddle is still good enough to get more passes. He just didn't get them. The Dolphins as a team is better than at least this current iteration of the Chargers. I totally forgot about Khalil Mack being on this team and being out. But the biggest reason why the Chargers won this game is because of Justin Herbert. The biggest reason why the Dolphins lost this game was because of Tua Tagovailoa. That's all you need to say. And of course, we're not going to harp on it anymore, but the Patriots beat the Cardinals 27-13, We know about talking about Kyler Murray going out. I think it was like on a third play. Colt McCoy came in. He didn't look that good. The Cardinals as a whole doesn't look good. I will say this. No. I have absolutely no faith in the Patriots. I think the Patriots could possibly and probably will make the playoffs, but I have no faith in the Patriots. I have no faith in the Patriots because how they're running things. I don't trust Mac Jones in the slightest, but I also understand that it kind of seems like he's being held back because they still do not have an offensive coordinator. They have Matt Patricia, who is known for his defense, has been a defensive head coach for the longest. He was a head coach where their defense was good, but the team sucked. He's calling plays. And these plays look so elementary, man. It doesn't look good. In the slide, we're going to have to see what happens with Devontae Parker if he's back, or because he had like concussion. Nelson Aguilar still dropping passes. It's just a bad look. It's a bad look, and I don't like the Patriots. The Patriots are not good. They're such a their defense is good. Their running game is still good, even though their top two running backs are out. I don't trust the Patriots making any type noise. I think about it. Who would you choose the Patriots over the Chiefs? I wouldn't. Would you choose the Patriots over the Dolphins? It's a toss up, but I wouldn't. Would you choose the Patriots over the Chiefs? Toss up, but I wouldn't. Would you choose the Patriots over the Ravens with a healthy Lamar Jackson? I wouldn't. Hell, I don't even know if I'd choose the Patriots over the Titans. And I'm definitely not choosing them over the Bengals and the Bills. So, yeah. But that's that. That's my Week 14 breakdown. So, let's move forward. I'm not going to talk about the dunk that was the Zion Williamson dunk. I don't need to talk about that. He dunked the ball. Okay. He dunked the ball right. I understand the whole showmanship and he against the Suns. He dunked the ball, like time ran out. They won the game. They were upset, pushing, shoving. Hey, bro, if you don't want me to dunk the ball, stop me from dunking. That's just how it is. The thing that I want to talk about is how good the New Orleans Pelicans are and just how far they can really, how much noise they can really make in this season and in the playoffs. Now people have been coming to me, and first of all, they're 18-8. Look at that. People have come to me and said that I owe Zion Williamson an apology because I was quite harsh about his weight situation. His first 2 years in the league. And no, I don't owe him an apology because I wasn't saying I wasn't making no jokes. What I was saying was Zion Williamson struggled, and he even came out and said that he struggled with his weight. He struggled with his eating. And one thing that was said was if he is able to get his weight down and if he is able to maintain his weight, he can emerge as one of the best players in the league. I mean, he was shooting he was averaging like 25 points on his 75% shooting when playing and overweight. Now Zion looks like Zion, in my opinion, should be in the MVP talks. I'm not saying he would win it, but he should be in the MVP talks. That's how good he's been. Now, I also understand, and it's not lost on me that he has looked his best with Brandon Ingram being out. But you can also argue when your best or second best player is out, you're going to have to elevate your game. But this is a deep team, man. You have, again, Jose Alvarado. We know about him and his infamous sneak-up steals. You have Devontae Graham, Jackson Hayes, Brandon Ingram, Herb Jones, who's a great defender. C.J. McCollum, Trey Murphy III, who's great. Like this team is good. Jonas Valanciunas, and of course Zion. This team, I don't know. One thing that I don't like. One thing that this team to me doesn't have enough of is shooting. Because I mean, outside of C.J. McCollum and maybe and Brandon Ingram, they don't really have another player that can consistently create his own shot outside of Devontae Graham. But this is a long, 6 foot, 6'1", 6'6", 6'11", 6'11", 6'8", 6'7", 6'1", 6'7", 6'7", 6'3", 8, 6'8", 6'7", 6'7", 6'5", 6'11", 6'6". Jesus Christ. I think that they're good, and I think that defensively they've been really good. Offensively, they've been getting to the rim, and of course you have Zion that cleans up a lot of things and can put you in positions that nobody else can. I just don't know once you go in when you're in the playoffs and you go against a team that has more like a Golden State maybe, or like I don't know, who would like Memphis, like a Dallas, Denver, I don't know, Clippers, I don't know, but I do think that they are good enough to at least. At their best, I have them at the best. If everything goes the way they're supposed to go, I have them make it to the Western Conference Finals. Of course, we'll talk about it further down the road, but that's how good they can be. I mean, right now they're number 1 in the West. So that the Pelicans are good. Pelicans are great. And another team I wanted to talk about are the Boston Celtics. Now, yes, I understand. I think they're on like a 2-game losing streak. They still have the best record in the league at 21-7. You still have Jason Tatum, who I think is still in the MVP conversations. Jaylen Brown has been incredible. Malcolm, the team as a whole is one of the best 3-point. I think this first or second best 3-point shooting team in the league. But what I want to talk about is what we saw against Golden State. Now, usually I wouldn't really speak too much on regular season games because they're just regular season games. But I saw something in this Boston Celtics that I did not like. The Golden State Warriors beat them 3 times in a row in the NBA Finals. Steph Curry went crazy. Won his first Finals MVP. Golden State, a lot of, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, they win their 4th championship. Just adding on to that dynasty that they have. With all those factors, and the fact that the Golden State Warriors are struggling this year, especially defensively, I expected the Boston Celtics to go in and destroy the Golden State Warriors, to send them a message that, well, yes, what happened in the finals, this is not the finals. And we're ready for you. We're going to play the best that we can, and we're going to destroy you. We're going to show you why we are currently the best team in the league. That didn't happen. In fact, the Boston Celtics looked exactly like they looked in the finals. Jason Tatum was timid. It looked like he was timid. Jaylen Brown was going crazy, but he still was losing the ball left and right. There was a lot of turnovers. I don't know what the hell Marcus Smart was doing. I don't want to call it a psychological thing, but it feels like Golden State could possibly be in the Celtics' head. And I understand because, again, that's the NBA Finals. Like, it's hard to just, lose the NBA Finals. Especially losing 3 straight games. But it seems like that is giving the Boston Celtics extra motivation this year, and they looked good. They look good. But then you face the people that beat you in the Western Conference or in the NBA Finals, and you look exactly like you looked. I'm not saying that they're just going to fall off the face of the earth. I'm not saying that their season's over. I'm just saying that was very concerning to me that the Boston Celtics look exactly how they looked in the Boston Celtics that have looked like the far and away best team this year met Golden State and looked exactly how they looked in the NBA Finals, like almost to the T. And then follow that up with losing like a 20-point game to Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and the Clippers. Another Western Conference team that they could very well see in the finals if they do make it to the finals again. And this isn't even the best version of Kawhi Leonard you're going to get. So I'm not saying sound the panic alarm. I'm just saying let's be a little cautious. That's all I'm saying. And lastly, before we go, I want to shine light on the fact that Cade Cunningham will be out for the remainder of the season due to, a shin injury, has to have surgery, out for the season. I'm not going to say I am concerned. I'm concerned. I'm concerned because the first 2 years of a athlete's career, NBA, NFL, are the most important ones. They are the one. Now I'm not saying that they're just, because he's out for his second year, that he's just going to fall off a cliff and not have a good NBA career. But the first 2 years are the most vital. The first 2 years, that's when you develop the most. That's where you, not saying you don't get better, but you develop very, like look at John Morant first year and second year. It's a valuable thing, and especially on a very young team like the Detroit Pistons, I want as he's supposed to be playing as much basketball as possible. So because you still have Jalen Ivey, you have a lot of, or Jaden Ivey, you still have a lot of people on that team that are okay. It's just I don't want to see anybody hurt, clearly. But I am nervous, and I don't hope that I hope that this doesn't derail anything, because again, this is a young team, very young team. Like who was their veteran? Who's the oldest player on this team? Bojan Bogdanovic is the oldest player. Alec Burke, Corey Joseph, Rodney Magruder. Ooh, this is a team. All I'm saying is this. I wish for a speedy recovery, and I hope for a speedy recovery for Cade Cunningham. And it just sucks because, to me, the first 2 years are probably the most vital in an NBA player's career, because of just the sheer fact of that's where you're learning the game, and those are the 2 most important years. And now you're out for the second year. So, and Cade Cunningham had a good rookie season. One rookie of the year, I believe. He's been good. It's just, I just wish I wish for a speedy recovery. I wish for a speedy recovery. Oh, he's 21 too. Good Lord. Yeah, he did win, right? Rookie. No, he didn't. I apologize. He did not win Rookie of the Year. Who won Rookie of the Year last year? I feel like I know this. I do know this. Hold on. I'm going to, this is just for me. how is it slipping my mind? Oh. Scotty Barnes. Right. Absolutely right. Correct. But yeah, I hope for a speedy recovery for Cade Cunningham. I hope he gets back better than ever. And, I hope that it's just a irrational fear that I have with him pretty much out his second season. So, and there you have it. That has been today's episode of the Unpopular Podcast. I appreciate you guys. If you want an Unpopular Podcast shirt, hoodie, sweater, long sleeve, joggers, the link is in the description below. I have multiple different colors, multiple different designs. Go get your Unpopular Podcast merch today. Also, please subscribe to if you're listening. Please subscribe to if you're watching. It definitely means a lot to me. I'm trying to get the algorithms going. So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, share, comment. Definitely, if you leave a comment, I'll more than likely respond. So I appreciate you guys. And until next time, much love.